What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dr. Professor Dark Joker here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. One Piece, episode 1144. So in this one, um, yeah, so basically you have the five elders arrive, so like the other four. So we know Saturn was already on Egghead, but then the other four arrived. They're like basically they're kind of like they're like monster forms. They're basically kind of like I think they're like supposed to be like old yokai from Japanese mythology or something. So then they basically show off their power. So like, dude, it is freaking insane. Like, holy frick. Like, well, their power level is freaking insane. So you have, Ethan Baron v. Nosturo, who, basically he's like a swordsman. So, so he, like, destroys, like, a bunch of, like, freaking, pacifistas. So, yeah. Well, that everyone else had trouble with. You have War Topman Workery who like so yeah, and for Nostro transforms like some centaur thing. So Topman Workery turns like a giant pig monster. So and like basically like and you see him fighting like dude, it is some insane crap going on. And basically it's like holy frick. Yeah. Like dude, like their power level is like so yeah, you have Marcus Mars, who transforms like a giant bird or whatever, and like, dude, you just see all these elders like doing their stuff. It's like, frick, like, like it is insane. Like it is actually insane what they're doing. Like they're like this is just like them like just showing off. That's essentially what it is. You have Shepherd Jupiter, who kind of looks kind of amongst the current lineup in the anime. Not talking about current lab in the manga, although like he kind of looks like the one of the younger side as far as like elders go. Who knows? I mean, it's because he has like blonde hair instead of white or gray in the anime. Now in the manga, he kind of is shown with like more white hair, but he might be one of the younger ones. So he turns into a giant simpy. He actually like kind of like eats Luffy, but then Luffy's able to get out. So the giants are fighting, and so Dorian Bragi meet up with Luffy, and so basically now we're gonna have those like so Luffy, Dorian Bragi versus the Five Elders next episode, and that is gonna be insane. And of course, like, but dude, holy frick, the way like I mean, obviously a lot of people expected that they were actually very powerful. I mean, we never knew for a while like exactly how powerful like strength wise the Five Elders were. We just knew they were like publicly, they were considered the top authority amongst the Celestial Dragons. Of course, we know Emu's the actual top authority. Like we expected Emu to be extreme powered. Then we saw in the in Sabo's flashback in Egghead a hint of how powerful the Five Elders were. We're like, oh, these guys may actually be a threat. Especially when Saturn arrived on Egghead, we knew okay, Saturn's probably the main antagonist for this arc, which he is, and we're gonna see him fight. First taste of how powerful the elders were. Yeah, holy frick. I could tell you these fights involving the five elders are going to be big. And this episode is just introducing how powerful they are. Like, it's just a taste of what's to come. Like, this arc is basically a first taste of what's to come in the rest of One Piece. That's how like AK is just an introduction to like everything. Like, oh, like we're obviously manga's on Elbaf, and who knows what's after it. I think we got Mary Joyce and Laugh Tale. At least those two. I don't know if there's anything else. But yeah, I really like this. I like the animation. Like yeah, how you just have how Luffy like his like very cartoonish style of fighting, how it contrasts with like the freaking demented evil like animation for like the elders is it's kind of funny, but it's like dang, what a contrast here. But yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. The Elusive Samurai Chapter 219. So in this one, we see Ayako like just start basically wrecking people, just start killing a bunch of people, and basically, so we see like I guess a flashback of Ayako being told about like I guess her ancestor Tomo Gozen, who was a warrior who basically was also a who was a woman, and basically so Tomo was carrying the child of Prince Yoshinaka, um that basically then basically like the kid was named Himayasha, and that when the Himayasha came of age, she married the head of the Mochizuki family. So it explains that yeah, Tomo's blood runs in like Ayako's veins, and so basically since she was carrying the child of a dead journal, I guess the family kept a secret. And basically, she wasn't. Ayako was not told until she was, I guess, considered equal of a warrior as Tobo. And so it's shown that basically, like I guess her father is telling her, hey, basically, I guess she's is a father believes that she's about to be a mother soon. That basically this will be her last battle as a warrior, and basically fight with everything she's got in the final battle. Now, though it's not officially confirmed if Ayako's pregnant, but based on the last few chapters, it's safe to say she is. Now, very newly pregnant, so she can still do stuff. Like, she can still move around. Now, I would not want a pregnant woman out in battle just for obvious reasons. Don't want to risk anything happening to the baby, but anyway, you see Aiko just kills like she like basically rips these two guys' heads off. And so that opens up the path for Tokiyuki, Gimba, and Suzuku to reach Takagi. Yeah, so basically, I guess the idea is to shoot a obsidian Hamaya arrow at Takagi to basically release all of his divine power, and then basically, so there's like a deformity in his back when Aki basically hit him with one, and so the deformity's worse now. So now the an arrow, obsidian arrow, will actually be able to have more effect, basically at max potential. So basically, they need to get the cloak and armor off so that obsidian arrow can actually pierce them because it won't pierce iron. And then, yeah, so Gimba shoots an arrow to knock Takagi off of his horse, and that causes the armor to fall off, and basically it blew up his armor. And then Togi's like, okay, now let's shoot him with the Hamiya. Then Suzuka's like, no. So you see something happened with the divine power, and then yeah, so basically, whatever God's inside him is like it's basically like instead of trying to force the divine power to stay inside him, it's basically like expending it with like basically reckless abandon in order to like make Takaji stronger. So now Takaji's at full power as like some type of evil god, and so Takaji's just picking up his weapon, ready to basically fight, confront Tokiyuki and fight him. So looks like we're next chapter's gonna start a big fight between them, Tokiyuki and Takaji. So yeah. So yeah, I really like this chapter. I like all the stuff they're setting up. So obviously we're getting near the end game. However it goes, I don't know. Like, well, there's some questions about like how close to history are they going to keep this? Like, how close to it are they going to keep it? So, because basically he was like in real history, he was killed. Like he lost, and like Nita was like was routed, and basically like he died in 1353. Yeah, and he was beheaded. That is how history goes. Like that is exactly how history goes. So I don't know how they're gonna handle this fight. If they're gonna stray from history, because this says 1352. So we're still like a year or half a year away from him dying. Like we're still like around a little less, probably around the year half away from him being killed. Like from Tokiyuki dying. Like he dies within the year of this battle. Like that is the fact. So I don't know how they're gonna handle it. Honestly, like Takaji, I like yeah, it's and Takashi dies 5 years later. So unless they're gonna fake his death, Tokiyuki's death, um, Takashi like D's dead. Like this is not gonna be a very. He's gonna be we are near the end game of this, but it's gonna be a pretty tragic death. It's gonna be pretty tragic what happens, probably. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Kagurabachi Chapter 94. So in this one, the Kaminami are discussing like potentially like storing the Sanuchi in the in the storehouse that Hawkeye does have like access to. But basically do that, Hawkeye has to channel spirit energy into it. Yeah, so but you know, so while spirit energy has been channeled into it to actually activate Sanuchi's powers, basically the person trying to use it has actually have a strong desire to use the sword. And then yeah, so but there's an issue where if you use the sword, the sword master can basically potentially control a user from within, and that's like believed what happened with Kiora Sazanami at the Rakuzaichi. So at the auction, that's kind of how he died. And so it's and basically shown that that's what the Kaminami research did when they studied the blade. So and after you know and so then they resealed it. So yeah, and basically shown that only the ones in the room with Hakury, only all of them have actually had any contact with the sword. So yeah, and then there's possibly that they think there might like there's possibly of there possibly being a traitor, someone that betrayed the Kaminami for the Hishaku. Like that's the concern. Yeah, that potentially like someone one of the guys in the white robes may have changed the Sanuchi seal and basically weakened it. Yeah. So and then yeah, so basically there's the concern. And then yeah, so then their plan is to now have Hakari transport the Sanuchi to the warehouse, basically so no one can use it. And then yeah, so then we see Hokuto arrive, big fights going on, and then like so yeah, so basically yeah, so it's believed that it was actually compromised before the seal had happened. The resealing had happened. So yeah, so turns out Hokuto had put his spirit energy into the Sanuchi before the Rakuzaichi auction. And so basically, yeah. So yeah, so basically that's what happened. And then Hokuto says that basically with the power like that he's got like basically like he's gonna like overthrow like he says with this power will overthrow you. So basically he's ready to like kill all the Kaminami. So I really like this chapter, like how you said, like with there possibly being a traitor, everything with all that. I'm like, okay, this could be insane. Is there a traitor? Is it just something just happened? But yeah, so I liked all the intrigue. I liked how they're setting up the big fight. So yeah, I think this is a real. I thought it was a really good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi Chapter 61. So in this one, basically Kiyoshi has recovered well enough to where he could use preset power. So he like is discharged from the Hitsuki hospital. So yeah, but then like Kiyoshi and Hitsuki go to like Sakaki's restaurant, and then yeah, then they come across Tulsika, who like they had, who's now like the director of the Dandelion Town branch office. So yeah, and then Toji Shuden's there as well. So basically, some of like the yeah, it basically so I guess some people they've come Kyoshi's met or gathered there. So then like basically yeah, so then there's an issue where there's a cross paladin that's missing named Goro Shishido. Basically, like he kind of like he's drilling the demon realm a lot, like basically keep it to himself, but he does stay in contact. And like basically he's missing, and basically they know that what's concerning is that like generally they are able to keep contact with him, and but it's been 3 weeks, and they know he would never miss a concert by his favorite idol. So that's like a side that like yeah, he's missing. It's bad. Yeah, so Tosaka and Shuden were assigned with going there. And so And then, basically, Sakagi recommends that Kiyoshi goes there with them as a way to it'd be good rehabilitation for him. And then he says if he wants to become cross-paladin, he should probably meet Shishido, and especially since it's good to experience the Demon Realm at least once. And he also recommends for Hitsugi to go there. So basically, like we have a four-man team that's going to a Demon Realm of Shuden, Tosaka, Kiyoshi, and Hitsugi. So basically, they're about to go to Demon Realm. So it looks like my guess is we may come across see that demon that Hitsugi met in the first chapter that he spared. So that could play a role, and we can see like what's gone on in the demon realm, how since a lot of the major demon lords were exorcised. So yeah, interesting how that goes. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ichi the Witch, chapter 51. So in this one, so Gokuraku has gotten his new like arms and legs. Basically, like, he wanted some features, and that's probably why it took a while. But he ends up not getting a bunch of them. But he's able to like do well. So basically, then so Ichi's group is led to the wand and tools department, and so there's like some hoverboards that are like I guess they're comet models. Basically, like they're hoverboards. So exactly what you think they are. So and Ichi gets a knack for it pretty quick, and then yeah, so okay, yeah, so then so then I guess Kumagi has an issue with potentially riding the Comet board because I guess she's not the most coordinate. She doesn't have good hand-eye coordination. So like I guess she's better at doing the hover bike. Yeah, and so basically the different tools used for flights. You have bicycles, skates, motorcycles, and all that. Besides like the hover bike and the hoverboard. But of course you have brooms. Yeah, and then so Ichi's like really interested in the broom. So yeah, so then Jiki Shiron arrives, saying that she's going on a mission with Ichi's group, like to the next hunt. So yeah, so basically, Jiki Shiron's trying to like see if Ichi is like the Messiah that's gonna fight the World Hater, so that she'll know which side she'll take. And so basically, the next mission's in the Pendulum Seas, going against the Time Magic, which is like a very high level magic that basically the Witch Association has been trying to acquire for years but hasn't. And it's so basically the group's heading towards like on their hoverboards to the chronostasis. So I guess Ichi's not using the broom. So yeah, so I'm guessing they're hinting with the broom that Ichi's going to use the broom at some point. Somehow, whether like let's say it comes out of its casing whatever and flies towards Ichi like it's like Harry's when he was going against that dragon in Goblet of Fire, or if it like who knows? It says it chooses the witch, so that's gonna be interesting like how that goes like because it looks like they're hinting that the broom's gonna play a role. So it's gonna be interesting how like this ghost ship, the chronostasis, the time magic, how that's gonna go. So I'm interested in that. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Other of the Flame, chapter 19. So Dodowa is trying to acquire the wind spirit, and while fighting off everyone. So you have Oder Edupurko trying to fight Dodowa. And so Kuti's concerned about what he needs to do. And then, so then Putin, like, he wants to help, but Edward tells him to, like, basically, I guess, stay by Oder while she protects both of them. So Putin remembers his past, remembering when Eoperco left, I guess, left to go on journey to, I guess, make herself stronger. And so I guess it was like a year after, I guess, the Ice Kingdom attack started. And basically, Eoperco believes since she was royalty, she has a responsibility to I guess help protect the people, which I respect. It's nice when royalty actually cares. But yeah, so and basically like Putin wants to help, so that he tells he asked his father when he was a kid, he asked his father to teach him about like ships, trading, all that. I guess since he was inspired by like Ed Perkle's words about responsibility of his status, so basically Putin wanted to take his status seriously. And so he then, in the present, tells Oder that he's got a plan. So it's like that's gonna play. It's like Kunin's gonna be a big focus next week's chapter. Like whatever his plan is, let's see if it works. Based on what they're saying, it looks like it's gonna work, or at least do a lot of damage. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Harukaze Mound, chapter 14. So in this one, the game's still going on between Hinazuka and you know, and Ryokusen. So Kingo's, I guess, is in a kind of like a slump. So he's a cleanup hitter, but like the ball he hit did, yeah, it was a grounder. Yeah, so basically, apparently, his swing is very constrained. I guess it's been an issue since he was at Ryokusen. So yeah, so you see like how, but basically the outfielders are able to still do well. Basically, I guess to make Yo like Yokogi basically drilled like basically drilled them in a fielding like drills. Apparently, she like made them practice a lot. Yeah, it'd be nice to see that in the manga. Just see like them dealing with field. That would have been pretty funny. And basically, so it keeps them. It keeps like Hinazaka Hinazakura in like with like basically they're like but the lead's been so basically it's like 6-3. It gets to like 6-3 is like the score. So yeah. So it's 3 point difference, so it's like a different like they're still in play. So technically like a grand slam would win the game. But like Pingo's like basically he's not happy about it. Nagiharu like is trying to cheer him up. And then basically tells he's like a dark like he's like a dark guy, so basically like he says he's someone who goes to dark places and masters something like a craftsman. And basically tells him like to get loose, swing big, and basically that like and yeah, just and basically Nagiharu says he gets understands because he's like that too. So Nagaharu comes in at pitcher and gets like it's like the big batter out, and so I guess they're setting up like Pingo making a big hit like later. Yeah, so basically, so like Matsukasa is a cleanup hitter for Ryokusen, and he's like he already has 3 RBIs, and like yeah, and basically they have runner at first, no outs. Of course, now we have 1 out with Matsukasa being struck out. yeah, so who knows yeah, how it's gonna go next chapter. So it looks like my guess is next chapter is gonna deal with the rest of like I guess Ryokusen's batting, and then they're gonna set up like guess Kingo like making a big hit. That's what I'm gonna bet. Here's my prediction. We're gonna have two outs, bases loaded, Kingo's gonna be up. That's how the game will end. And Kingo gets a grand slam to get him out of that slump. That's what I'm predicting. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ekiden Bros, chapter 12. So in this one, this focuses on Hanashiro. So basically, it's discussed why he doesn't like to run Ekidens because he doesn't play well with others. I guess because he's like a prodigy. He can't like he doesn't want to talk to people while he's dealing with like hit running. And then yeah, so then it looks like this shows him running, and then like you see Shin Onuki, like one of the other riders, like basically. So Odin's like so Hanashiro is actually starting to run now. He's running his I guess his first Ekiden, but yeah. And so basically he's like the only one who's being picked, basically only on time. Yeah, so yeah, so then you have he's the Odin he's behind, so you see him catching up, and then like basically you see Hanashiro just run past the Seitoku guy, and like he's able to yeah, so then he run and then like he is able to like run and basically I guess it's a tie between Seitoku and Odin in that leg of the race. So yeah, so basically Hanashiro finishes his leg of his first ever Ekiden. See, I liked interesting how they're focused on different character. This one, Hanashiro. Obviously, we're still waiting for a Nobu to like make his appearance, in this race. But yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ping-Pong Peril, chapter 11. So in this one, so it starts out with Mutsuki taking Tyra out to like a buffet, I guess to celebrate his promotion. And then basically Tyra is concerned that there could be a ping pong peril match that could start at any moment, and revealed that Mutsuki is technically a part-time worker, and she's actually at the bottom of the ladder as far as like the workers for ping pong peril are. And so like she's trying to learn more about the administrators. That's why she's trying to, I guess, basically like associate herself with good competitors. She says that she chose Tyra, I guess, to help her with that. So I guess they like go around do shopping, and then like they come across Perry Hibizuka, who's a member of the Nanabishi corporate team. He's like a former Olympian. Apparently, he is Tyra's old coach. And then Tyra's like, "Wait a second." And then Mitsuki's like, "All right, it's time to play for ping pong barrel." And basically, apparently Tyra has never beaten Perry. Apparently, he's always lost, and he doesn't feel like Perry's taking him seriously. And basically, it's at the Shibuya Scramble Crossing, and so the table's going to be pedestrians' heads. So basically, what the rule will be: a second bounce of each hit has to occur on the head of someone who's on a different block than the one that each competitor's on. Because basically, if when there's a red light, they would just steal each other's serves. And then yeah, so and then so and then Perry asks if they can bet something else, and then Mitsuki says sure as long as Tyra can bet something as well. And basically, Perry says that he doesn't need anything besides the 5 million, but it's like something he wants to do. He basically he wants to bet all his 986 million that he's earned through ping pong peril and regular ping pong. He wants to bet all of his savings from it on this match. And then so yeah, and so basically if Tyra wins, he would be able to repay most of his debt. And then he's wondering if he could win. He's like, all right, he decides he's just gonna win. So it looks like the bet is on. So I don't know how much money so 986. I don't know how much money that would leave if assuming Tyra wins, how much money that leaves with him. But if he win like I don't know, let's see. Like I think he'd still be a little over 10 million short so cuz like he's won like I think he's won maybe 4 or 5 matches. So with that being 1 million, with that he would be I think he'd be 10 million short. Now unless I can't remember if the promotion now if the promotion match was 5 million, then he would be 6 million short. So yeah, he could be very close to basically not needing to pay off a debt anymore. He would just be playing to play. Which I'm guessing must mean this series is about to end pretty soon. If they're already doing that. But yeah, I like this chapter in sense of this high stakes match. See, interesting how pedestrians are going to react to it. But yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Apocalypse Bringer Mynoghra, episode 12. So in this one, Isla and the twins are not able to escape where they're at because basically they can't communicate with Takedo. Takedo is concerned because I guess he's able to sense what's going on, but he's not able to get him out. And so Flamin's revealed to still be alive. Basically, because he's a reanimated corpse, he can't be killed. Makes sense. And he takes control of the twin spies, has them walk towards him. And Takedo realizes that basically this was part of a key event that occurred in Play of Questus. And so, yeah. And so basically, Flamin tries to trigger a self destruct spell to wipe out Isla and the twins. And basically, we see a dream of the twins where they're watching a full moon. I guess saying the moon is pretty tonight isn't is a way of saying I love you. So they say that together. They decide to take Isla there late next full moon and say that to her, since she's kind of like their adopted mother. And so the twins are able to survive the blast, but Isla is mortally wounded. And Takedo still can't get him out. But Isla, knowing that she's gonna die soon, takes her heart out and gives it to the twins, tells them to eat the heart so that her power can transfer to them, which they do. So basically they've had to eat they ate their like biological mother through cannibalism. Now they have to eat the heart of their adopted mother to survive. Yeah, let's just say they are very traumatized. So they go to like their enemies area and just Yeah. Oh, they go to the enemies using Isla's powers, and they confront Old Mechanic, Lady Win, who's like the remain generals of the Demon Lord, and they just effortlessly just kill them. They just massacre their entire armies before going to confront Demon Lord. And Takuto tells Otto to go after the twins, and tells the Dark Elves to return to Mynoghra. So yeah, no, the so Otto has to go head towards where the twins are at. So it's like the Demon Lord is gonna appear next episode, which I believe was like it's gonna be the final episode of the season. But yeah, I really liked it. I liked this episode. I mean, it was dark. Like, dang, like the twins are freaking pissed. Like they're pissed. Like they're ready to just like, dude, how they massacred all those soldiers. Holy frick! Like it looks like the it's gonna be pretty dark. It looks like it's gonna be interesting what happens next week. But yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Gachiakuta episode 11. So in this one, Amo tells the cleaners that like yeah they can in the I guess in her like I guess tower or whatever, the fumes don't get in so they can take the mask off. So they all do, and basically she says she wants to see all their faces. So then she starts trying to ask them what they're looking for in a crush, and everyone's like, "What?" Engine's like, "Is this conversation a price to pay for gaining info about the sphere?" Amo's like, "You just want to come here to use Amo?" So then she's revealed to be a giver. So she uses her giver powers to give off a scent from her boots, which have the same symbol as Rudo's gloves. Yeah, I'll straight up say they're part of the Watchmen series. The boots are part of the Watchmen series. But like they're going to reveal exclusive battles to it. It's part of the Watchmen series, which the Watchmen series is a very interesting concept in the Gachiakuta. That there's a lot of lore with it. So there's a lot of hallucinations where basically it causes like different declares start attacking each other. So we see like Delman like attacks Engine, and we see Rio starts attacking. So everyone except Tamzi and Zonka are able to basically they all get basically brainwashed or whatever. They all get see now, and Rudo sees when he sees looking towards Amo, he sees Chiwa, the girl he was into when he lived on the sphere, and basically he sees Zanka and Tamzi as apostles from the sphere. Well, which mm, ironic in the case of Tamzi, I'll just say, because given a certain plot point regarding Tamzi, yeah. So like none of the cleaners are able to trust each other in this fight, so they're all fighting each other. And I can tell you, it's about to get really dark in regards to Rudo. But yeah, dude, this was like, dude, Amo being freaking insane. Like, this was an arc I was really looking forward to because of how insane it gets and basically how dark it gets. And yeah, this is done very well. This is a very good episode. And the way how crazy Amo is fun. And then you have Engine, how when he's trying to I guess negotiate with Amo. Like he wants her. He says, "Hey, do you mind covering up? It's hard to concentrate now." And Amo gets pissed off at him saying that, and that bit was funny. I was like, you probably shouldn't be saying that, even if it's true. Like for me, I'm like, well, whatever it is, I'm like, dude, just freaking, hey, just do your job. You're supposed to be professional. Gosh, whatever circus, just do your job. But dude, I thought it was funny that Amo getting pissed off. Like she is crazy. Like she is crazy. and she is a very important character in Gachiakuta. I will say that. Like she's very important throughout this series for reasons, but it's insane. Like and how almost power works. Holy frick. So like this is like the first really big like, you know, where you start seeing a lot more lore get revealed. Like and the almost stuff is freaking insane. It's dark, but like I will say the next few episodes, they're gonna be interesting. I'll say that. There'll be some commentary about it, about the next few episodes. I will say that. Just in regards to like some of the tragic stuff that happens with Almo. So yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Uglymug, Epicfighter, episode 12, and full series. So in this one, basically, every Shigeru's group's all like hurt from the fight against Karina, and then we see like different characters reflect on their past. So it's real that Seika, I guess she was in the accident she was in, so her parents were killed, and then she like of course was paralyzed, and I guess her face was scarred. So you see a bunch of young boys calling her ugly and all that. Shigeru like intervenes, basically helps her get back, gives her just a note that has some life advice, and so that I guess she uses that note to help inspire her. So I guess it helps her mental health and all that. And I guess she was taken care of by her uncle. And then yeah, so then we see her go into so she had went to their world, and then it's shown that Ree's like one in her special notes wanted I guess a bunch of I guess people she knew to meet up with each other in the other world. So I guess it's implied that's be how like Seiji, Reese, Shigeru, and Seika all met up because of her special notes. And so Shigeru is able to beat Karna. He beats Karna, then I guess like so the kidnappers are arrested and basically, the group's business does pretty well. Yeah. So, Shigeru learns that Seika was the girl he gave that note to, you know. And I guess Seiji suspects that Reese is like he starts saying her name, but he's interrupted saying there's a customer. So it's like a lot everyone's gonna learn like each other's like past soon. If let's say they made a season two. So yeah, I like this episode as far as this season. After the freaking terrible pilot episode, 'cause I'll just say it, the pilot episode sucked. It did. Like they significantly improved the animation in the after like basically it's like in episode two, there's like a significant jump in quality in animation. Especially in the backgrounds. I was like, holy frick, they like basically first episode was trash, but then the rest of it was actually good. So yeah, I like this. You know, I like this season. That was pretty good. Look, hey, if they make a second season, I'll watch it. But this is a decent show. It's not gonna be some like big time award winning show that like not even in the anime awards. I don't think it will. But I think it's a decent show. The opening and ending were really good. So yeah, I like this show. Hopefully they make a season two. Hotel Inhumans, episode 12. So in this one, Shihashi is trying to coerce Danica into going through the assassination of Prince Murray, and even holds like the slave boy that's there hostage to force Danica to do it. So Ikuro and Chitana arrive, and so Shihashi's distracted, which allows Sarah to knock him out, save save the kid. Now the boy like picks up a gun, tries to kill Shihashi, who's unconscious, basically in revenge for all the stuff he said basically for making him a slave and all that. But Danica gets in the way of the gun and gets shot in the shoulder. But it kind of grazes her, so she's not. It's not like an extremely bad injury. Danica tells the kid to not dirty his hands by killing, since she and Chitana, since their hands are already dirty from killing, they'll do it instead. And so Danica and Chitana, they take some time to look at the meteor shower, and then they assassinate Minister Aslan, which ruins the slave trading operation, and basically ruins Shihashi's reputation. So and this is the end, I guess, the third part of this arc. So it's like next week's gonna be which looks like to be the last episode of this season is gonna be I guess I guess the aftermath of all this. So who knows what happens? Interesting what happens with this with the aftermath. The fact that there's another episode with this arc. Interesting what happens. So yeah, I like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Dekin no Mogura, the Earthbound Mole, episode 12 and full series. So in this one, so yeah, so basically all the Merfolk stuff is basically closed up. So you know, so like you have the Samajima patriarch is like basically he's like messed up. So it's revealed that the old lady is like an old friend of Yako's grandfather, like great grandfather. Whoever, basically that like basically she was like a childhood friend of his, and I guess all the girls were into Yako's great grandfather, and shown that she was like a basically she was like I guess since there were no men born in the family, she inherited the I guess the family fortune and all that. So she had to find like I guess a husband, and basically there were some issues with fertility and all that. Obviously, there was a son born, even though he was very messed up in the head. And so yeah, so I guess the family, everyone makes peace. Yako's father, like, basically, I guess, gets all the islanders Samajimas to make peace. Then, everyone goes back home. So Mogura's group, they all go back to Tokyo. And so when tries to bring, I guess, something for Mogura, he meets this one lady who's really, I guess, the cane store ladies, like, I guess, Mogura's jailer. It's revealed that Mogura is a fallen god. And I guess the reason he doesn't drink is because, well, sake is offered as an offering to gods. So a fallen god is forbidden from drinking alcohol. And so, yeah, so, obviously that gives like a hint of some of the backstory for Mogura and potential some plot points that could come up in a future season if there's going to be another season, which we don't know. I would like another season. But yeah, so I think if I would watch the second season, but if not, okay. This is a good episode to end the season on. So yeah, I really like this episode. Hopefully we get a season two because I really like this season. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 3. So in this one, Maru and the Akatsu twins, they so they're sent to this forest in Riju in order to find this man-eating shark that's swimming through forests, so odd lands, so it's possibly like some sort of cursed spirit or something. Even though those are only supposed to appear in Tokyo. So when they get there, they see the shark, and so the shark gets revealed to be a guy in a costume. And so the guy's name is Osada. He's a former Jujutsu short sorcerer. And so apparently there's a man named Tiger that's been there. And so basically he's been going after the tiger. And so that they say 25 years before this chapter, a pair of tigers were brought in illegally by some traders, and I guess they escaped in the mountain, became their home, and the tiger, who's called Toronosuke, is the grandkid. Basically, there's some inbreeding going on. So Osada is trying to go after the, go after the tiger. Yeah, so and basically Osada does not want to kill Toronosuke, he wants to save him. Basically, yeah, so basically the villagers want him dead, and basically he's trying to prevent him from, I guess, like, he attacked, so the guy, Toronosuke has killed humans, which means generally, I guess, means he must be killed, since he has the taste of human. And Osa says, well, says he was chased out because of human circumstance, but it's asking if he wants to kill the tiger because of human. I mean, me, I'd be like, you gotta kill the tiger. So yeah, so obviously, Tsurugi does not want to save the tiger. So Maru wants to go with Osada's idea, and so yeah, so basically, so then they come across the shark. So we see some of the backstory between Osada and Toronosuke. So Toronosuke is a little cub, Osada like taking care of it, and then he's you see Osada crying. He says, "Just don't let him suffer." And then so it's shown that then Maru reveals that he tells Tsurugi that his job is to gather info whether or not, I guess, his race can coexist with Earthlings. And it says his curse technique is shared between him and his twin brother. So basically, he can't use it except for emergencies. And basically, if it gets to a point where he has to use his power, it would make his brother trust humans less. And then, yeah, and then Tsurugi asks why is he telling him that? Maru says because he wants to be friends. And then a little cub comes out. So Tsurugi picks up the cub and tells Sada to keep his eyes on it. And then yeah, so that's the end of the chapter. So yeah, I like this chapter. It's like a little side chapter trying to show, like, I guess, a simple mission, and of course, Maru trying to earn the trust of the Akatsu twins. So basically develop all that. Try to explain why Maru doesn't use his power a lot. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Tulsa King Season 3, Episode 1. So in this one, Dwight is handcuffed to a table, and so a guy named Agent Muso comes in, and basically Muso tells Dwight that Margaret's saved and at the ranch, and it's revealed that Richard Ripple McClevey, who was the guy that Dwight shot when he was buried alive, and the guy was chained to a radiator, was an informant for Muso. Basically, that informant's death destroyed like a 2 year like like basically plan that the agent had to take down the Invernizzi family. And Musso tells Dwight that he knows about the recent deaths that have gone on since Dwight's been everything's gone on since Dwight's been in Tulsa. Chicky, the bikers. Basically, he tells him he's not going to try him for murder for now, but he threatens to go after Dwight's whole crew, including Margaret, over crimes that are associated with Dwight. But he says if Dwight does what he wants, he won't do it. And basically, Musso's trying to blackmail Dwight, and Dwight tells Margaret to basically that she's too good to not be dragged into what's going on. And so Dwight's called by a guy named Quiet Ray to go to New York. So Dwight has to go to New York. So he goes with Joanne and his grandkids at like the San Gennaro Festival in Little Italy. And so Ray, who obviously is a powerful person within the New York mob, basically tells Dwight he wants to give Dwight his own, I guess, crime family, his own territory in New York. Dwight tells him no because he said he likes what he's got what he has in Tulsa. Ray basically it's not much of offers, but it's demand. He wants Dwight to share what he had, what his wealth in Tulsa. Dwight declines, and Ray gets pissed off. And then basically, so Goody meets with Dwight, and then basically Dwight says he's not retiring. So then in Tulsa, so a woman named Cleo Montag basically goes to a dealership that Mitch owns. Basically, the way I guess Mitch reacts means that basically it's implied that they had known each other in the past. Possibly, basically, Cleo's father owned a distillery, and basically a man named Jeremiah Dunmeyer is trying to buy it. Basically, I guess he's very famous in Tulsa, and like he is very he's not well liked, I guess, in Tulsa, and so Cleo gives Mitch some of her father's bourbon, and basically, I guess her family is having to sell stuff. So basically, like even doing a yard sale, and so Spencer apparently has got a new job as a bartender at a casino, and so when Dwight gets back to Tulsa, you see like at the bar, you see Margaret's there, and yeah, then basically Dwight's there same time, probably a little awkward, and basically I guess Devereaux asks Dwight what happened, and basically Dwight says the feds are trying to get him to do something, and basically yeah, but she wants to like basically Dwight says he doesn't want to get her dragged into it, Margaret dragged into it, but Margaret still wants to be with him, and he relents. He basically relents, and so basically Mitch recommends that Dwight buy the distillery and liquor license, which is a potentially good business idea. Apparently Mitch does not like selling used cars. But there's an issue with Dunmeyer. And basically Dwight tells Mr. Montauk that he'll double whatever Dunmeyer's paying. He doesn't even know the number. And basically it was a handshake agreement. And basically I guess Dunmeyer was an old friend. And so Cole, who is Dunmeyer's son, tries to antagonize the Montagues. and yeah, so and then Bodhi is pissed, so Joanna wants him to take a payment to some group out of Kansas City. And so Tyson and Grace go with them, and then basically like Bodhi's pissed, and he's just giving cash to a guy who killed his friend Jimmy. Yeah, so Bodhi's electric EV Electroville runs out of charge, basically a few miles before the rendezvous point. And so the Kansas City group, they go there, they open the bag, and it's really there's a bunch of comic books in it. So Bodhi had grabbed the wrong satchel. Yeah, apparently that whole bag of comics was supposed to be used for Oklahoma comic convention. And so yeah, so Bodhi and one of the Kansas City guys goes back to Evan Higher Ground to get the bag with the actual money, while the rest stay with Grace and Tyson, basically pointing guns at them until everyone comes back. And then at the shop, basically Bodhi points a gun at the Casey guy and accuses him of killing like his friend, and basically makes the guy thank him for choosing to spare his life, and he tells him to get his money and get out, and which is what the guy does. So Bevilacqua, who's the Kansas City guys work for, calls Dwight about what happened, about what Bowie did, and basically Dwight says that Bowie told him what happened, and he's like he's backing his guy. And then basically, yeah, so obviously there's still issue of the liquor store, so Musso calls Dwight, tells him that Baton tells him that he knows he's been going to the Montagues. So yeah, and then basically, then basically Dunmire meets with Theodore Montague, basically telling him that he forced his hand. It's basically and basically Monk tells him that he's gotten a better offer from I guess from Dwight, from someone who shows more respect for him. And Dunbar says he basically gives his permission on the I guess on the purchase. So Cole and some of his goons enter the house. They beat up Theodore and then set the house on fire. So it looks like that's setting up, I guess, Dunmire as like a big antagonist for this season. Yeah, so yeah, they're saying it looks like they're saying Dunmire's the next big antagonist for this season. That should be interesting. You know, obviously what happens with that family. So and it looks like Musso may be involved as well. So yeah, I really like this episode. It's a great start to the season, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.